Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, or later today, I'm doing part 9 of the story, which is titled, Husband Tricks Wife into Writing Confession About Affair with Coworker, then Throws Her Out in Tears. And guys, it's obviously you were all watching this a couple hours ago and eagerly waiting for me to continue on this. I'm not going to waste time with a recap. You all know what's going on here. So I'm going to just jump right back into it and continue on this crazy story. And remember, this was one giant long story, one giant update sent to me, 24 pages long and 16 fonts. So that's why I split this thing up. Well, it says here, my wonderful wife, Linda, finally got an attorney. Oh, and he's being the sarcasm about wonderful wife. She called Angie. It's an attorney Angie knows and has faced in the past, and sometimes Linda thinks is competent, or someone Linda thinks is competent. Angie could tell me that what Linda's attorney said. Linda wants to reconcile, but I won't talk to her. Unless we begin to talk, start marriage counseling, they will tell the judge that I'm being unreasonable. You're being unreasonable? Really? It was only the one mistake with this guy, Fred, and that only lasted a short time. One-time mistake. Yeah, Linda was foolish, but that shouldn't end our marriage. Linda has apologized over and over and over and over again and wrote a complete timeline because that's what I wanted. Linda's willing to do anything I ask. Apparently not. He wants a divorce, so she's not willing to do that. She doesn't want to throw away our marriage, and neither should I. She's the one that did throw away the marriage. They'll ask the judge to suspend divorce proceedings and order us to do counseling for 6 months or so. 6 months of counseling with her. I think 6 months in probably one of the toughest federal prisons would probably be more of a dream than being 6 months of marriage counseling with her. So here we are after 6 months of trying to work on our marriage. That's what's best for both Linda and me. And she told Linda's attorney we won't consider reconciliation under any circumstances. No talking, no counseling, no trying to work things out. We are only interested in divorce. Good. The other attorney told Angie that Angie knows what the judge will do. There's just the one affair. Linda's willing to do anything to save the marriage while I won't even talk to her. Angie knows the judges don't like to make tough decisions about alimony and asset allocation. The judge will take the easy way out, and what's easy is to order marriage counseling. Faced with the facts that Linda wants to reconcile and I won't talk to her, Angie knows that whichever judge we will get will order us to try to work it out. There's no reason to waste our time fighting over a divorce settlement, since everyone knows that the outcome will be the court-ordered marriage counseling. Oh, how wonderful. Remember, guys out there that think that your girl's different, you want to get married. And maybe she is different, you might be one of the lucky ones. But the odds are, you're not, or she's not. And you'll be dealing with this shit one day. So remember these things, guys, when you hear these stories. I should stop wasting everyone's time and talk to Linda so we can start looking for a counselor and get on with our marriage. Nope. No thanks. Angie replied that this wasn't over just one guy. Linda is a serial cheater. Multiple men over the years. Linda's attorney said that's not true. Angie has no evidence that there was anyone besides Fred, and Angie said we had 3 types of evidence. First, there was the Instagram DMs between her and Fred. The other attorney said she knows about those, but those are the only ones about Linda and Fred. No other affairs. Angie said that's not true. In her DMs with Fred, Linda talks about another guy in the department she transferred from. Fred admits the guy told him that Linda was an easy lay, but that's the least of it. Well, that's true. Second, there are the DMs with her friends Jessica and Carol from Linda's hidden Instagram account. They describe Linda's month-long affair with at least 5 men over the last 2 years. All these men work for Linda's company, and Angie will call each and every one of them to testify at the divorce hearing. Angie will also call the boss who told Linda he wants her to transfer because her affair with a coworker was improper and disruptive. While she was seeing Fred, she was already involved in a second simultaneous affair with someone named Billy, another coworker and Linda's employee. Oh my God. Third, there are pictures of Linda naked at a pool party. She spent weeks describing to her friends in the DMs her adventures at the pool party. Men actually lined up to get BJs from Linda. They sat on the edge of the pool, and Linda, standing in the pool, went from one guy to the next. I'm picturing this. Okay, yeah, she's in the pool. Okay, they're standing by the pool. Or they're sitting on the edge of the fucking pool. You can picture this dude after dude after dude with their freaking schlongs there. And there she is walking over. Next. That stopped only when Linda's jaw got so sore she couldn't do it anymore. But Linda wasn't finished. She had intercourse with 3 or 4 guys. Angie's unsure of the number because Linda told her girlfriend she thinks one of the guys may have come back for a second round. So only 3 different guys, as she did one guy twice. Angie wouldn't be able to call them to testify because Linda has no idea any of these men are. She just had sex with them, but Angie will only need Linda's very explicit DM descriptions of the pool party. Well, I think that covered it. Angie concluded by telling Linda's attorney that Linda won't be able to claim it was all made up, that she was just entertaining her friends with wild tales. Her friend Carol was also at the pool party, extremely busy herself, but to confirm much of what Linda wrote about the pool party. No judge is going to order marriage counseling when he hears about these years and years of multiple men Linda has been unfaithful with. Since silence from Linda's attorney. Oh, I bet. It's about fucking time. Then her attorney asked Angie to send her everything Angie has. Angie said the attorney will have it that afternoon. Angie told her we will only accept a settlement with no alimony and a division of assets that awards Linda only what she brought into the marriage. Her car and some savings. If Linda does not agree to that, there's so much more we have on her, it will take days in court to get through it all. Yeah, and she's going to have to go through being in court, having all this evidence presented publicly. Lots of dirty linen aired in public. Since her longer affairs are mostly with coworkers, and at least with one of her employees, Linda will also be looking for a new job. Linda's attorney said that she'll get back to Angie and see what we have and talk to Linda. So Angie finished telling me about this conversation by saying that Linda's attorney is smart enough to realize they have no defense. We'll get the settlement that we filed. Shit. I think you got to give me Angie's contact information, and I can have. I'm sure Angie could be useful to a lot of guys who watch my channel here. That was last Thursday. On Friday night, we had our support group dinner again. Oh, Beth and Jim is. I think Beth and Jim have kept their hands off each other since. Jim brought his son this time. The kids went off to play while Jim, Beth, and I ate and talked. I asked Jim how things were going with his son. He said much better. He's no longer triggered by just looking at his son, but is still triggered by things his son says. When his son calls him dad, Jim goes into a tailspin, shortness of breath, sweating, and feeling faint. Again, nobody can blame him. But then he tells himself none of this has anything to do with the kid, and he calms down. Both of them are starting individual therapy next week, and that should help. But Jim says he's come a long way since our meeting last Sunday. Oh yeah? What's been going on? Is Beth involved? Nothing new in his divorce. They're still waiting for a response from Carol or the 45-day response to expire. Did Jim tell Angie the boy isn't his? Yes. Angie said the judges awards custody to mothers. Judges don't care who the father is or about the wife's infidelity. Shocker. Mothers get the kids unless they don't want them or are unfit. Fathers fight for visitation rights. They haven't heard of anything from Carol, so they don't know what she wants. I told Jim I read the recent DMs between Carol and Linda, and Carol's waiting for Jim to begin talking to her. Carol thinks if they talk, Jim will forgive her and forget her infidelity. Fat chance, Carol. Beth looked at Jim to see his reaction. Jim snorted and began laughing. We all started laughing. Yeah, and I'm laughing inside. I told them that Nico's wife Jessica is in the hospital on the psych floor. That I'll definitely laugh at. She's not doing so well. Well, all Jessicas eventually end up in the psych ward. That's usually how Jessicas work. Both wondered if any of our cheating spouses regret their infidelity. Yeah, fat chance. They only regret getting caught. Jim said they just regret getting caught. Well, okay. Has anyone heard from Nico? No, none of us know anything about Nico. The local cops and the FBI also interviewed Jim. More or less the same questions that I got, same answers. I told Beth and Jim all about the phone call I got from Angie, but from Linda's attorney. And yet another round of laughing. Beth said her and Fred will be going before a judge next week. Fred is still refusing to give her money or to see or talk to the kids, so they get an expedited hearing. Both expects to resolve the money issue, but also custody at the hearing next week. That only leaves the division of assets. That will take more time. But Beth believes that she and her kids will come out of this in good shape, unlike Fred. Well, I hope Beth deserves to come out all right in this situation as well as the kids. Fred is a fucking tool. Fred is a fucking asshat. Both Beth and Jim watched the latest set of your videos about us. Oh yeah? Beth and Jim, keep it in your fucking pants until all this shit's over with. The videos include my discussion with Angie about Jim and Beth's romance. Beth and I have already talked about this. Evidently, Beth and Jim also discussed it. Jim brought it up and said he agreed with Beth. Angie and me that they should take things slow. Don't take things anywhere. You're platonic friends working together, leave it at that. It's stupid to rush from the trauma they've experienced with another relationship. The kids are their first priority, and the last thing their kids need now is more complications in their lives. Exactly. And it may hurt their divorce settlements. They've agreed to only remain friends until the divorces are done. Right, you want to fuck like Catholic rabbits after the divorce is done? Knock yourselves out. You can go go on vacation and lock yourself in the fucking hotel room and fuck fucking 20 times a day and wear protection. All you want. But not until after the divorce. Believe me, it'll be more fun because you'll be building up all this tension. Jim said it's hard because Beth is such a wonderful, beautiful, loving woman. Keep it in your pants, Jim. They smiled at each other, and Beth reached out to squeeze Jim's hand. She left her hand in Jim's. Don't start simping, Jim. This is all bullshit. They are already sleeping together. That's what I think. You can tell by the way when they are all together. But I just smiled and said taking it slow is a wise thing to do. We were all in good mood, so the dinner was a lot of fun. No school the next day, so we just stayed pretty late. The kids were there, so Jim and Beth didn't try to push me out the door so they could be alone. I guess there's no banging with other kids around. My townhouse has a fairly wide front porch. The front porch was dark when I returned from my dinner with Jim and Beth. I parked in my driveway and was fumbling with my keys when someone came off my porch yelling at me. Oh, who could it be? Scared the shit out of me. It was Linda, and she was screaming and crying. What's she doing there? How could I tell Angie all those horrible things about her? How could Linda and I remain friends with Angie and Greg, and have them over for dinners and parties, go to their houses for social occasions after I told Angie all this shit about Linda? It's bad enough that Angie knows about the silly fling with Fred. If Angie thought it was only Fred, Angie would tell me to go to marriage counseling and reconcile. This is all the shit she's caring about, having her fucking Tuscan Raider tantrum on the porch. That would have been the end of it, but I had to tell Angie about the rest. Why did I poison Angie against her? Bitch, because Angie's my attorney, and a damn good one. And she needs to know all what's going on, and you weren't just hooking up with Fred that one-time mistake. Know all about your activities, my dear. And by the way, get the fuck off the porch. How could I do that to Linda? Do I know how uncomfortable it will be for her to be around Angie and Greg socially now? We'll probably have to give them up as friends. Linda was really screaming now and really crying. Who else did I tell? Meanwhile, like, in your neighborhood, like, all these, like, porch lights are all going on. Everybody coming out being like, what the hell? Shut the fuck up. I'm trying to get some sleep. I was stunned. This woman is completely insane. I told her the only time she and I will see Angie together is in court. We won't be having them over. There is no we. She needs to leave. I will only communicate with her through Angie. Linda screamed she lives here too, and she is not going anywhere. Okay. She was yelling louder now. We need to talk about this, how we can make things work out. That I'm just making everything worse by staying mad at her. Bitch, you've been fucking cheating with all these different dudes. You were having the BJ lineup in the pool, amongst many other things that I know about. Of course I'm mad at you. I'm fucking disgusted. And get your mouth away from me. Don't breathe on me, unless you have some fucking mouthwash. And bad-mouthing her to everyone. She loves me. How could I do this to her? I began to hear sirens approaching. Well, it's not my sirens, it's somebody else's sirens. One of my neighbors must have called the police. Good, they'll get her out of here. I don't think so, man. A hysterical woman? Who do they think is going to be the victim here? Linda was still screaming when the police arrived. 2 young uniformed officers. Oh, great. 2 young, inexperienced, probably narrative-driven cops that don't know, that are immediately going to believe who they're going to believe. I was about 10 feet away from her when I moved even further away. One cop asked me to step over to the curb while the other went to talk to Linda. The cop with me asked if I had any weapons on me. No. He told me he wanted to search me. Okay. He did. No weapons, no drugs, no needles. He asked for my ID, and I gave him my driver's license, and he called it in. While he was doing that, I heard the cop with Linda was telling her to calm down. Quit yelling. Why was she so upset? Oh, this should be good. No outstanding warrants for me, so the cop asked me what was going on. I told Linda I've been separated for about 6 weeks. We are divorcing, and the divorce papers have been filed with the court. I got home to find her on my porch screaming and crying. I just want her out of here. The cop told me to sit down on the curb and went to join the other cop talking to Linda. Now she's going to double down on the waterworks and the bullshit. Linda had calmed down and told them that I had, wait for it, beat her up and threw her out a few weeks back. Oh yeah, is there a police report for this incident? She wants to come home. Really? You want to go home after you were supposedly beat up? This is her house too. That I changed the lock so she can't get in. The cops asked if Linda filed a police report about the previous incident. No. She was too afraid. Oh, Jesus. Linda continued that when I arrived home and saw her calmly waiting so we could just talk, that I got very angry, threatened her, and was just about to hit her again. How do you think this is going to play out, guys? I got very angry, threatened her, blah, blah, blah. Thankfully, that's when the police arrived. She was yelling, hoping a neighbor would call the police. Does she want to press charges? Yes, she said. Both cops came over to me, asked me to stand up and turn around. They cuffed me and read me my rights. I asked why they were arresting me. They told me that the police have had a zero-tolerance policy for domestic incidents. If a wife claims that I did things or that her husband threatened her, their orders were to arrest the husband. Oh yeah, what happens to situations when guys are physically attacked? You gonna arrest the husbands? They're not allowed to make any decision about who was telling the truth or what actually happened. Well, apparently you did, because you're taking me away in cuffs. Don't tell me you didn't make a decision. Bullshit. Okay, fine. Then get another patrol car here and a couple female police officers and cuff her ass. That is for a judge and jury to determine. I asked if they arrest wives too, or is it just husbands? Neither cop would look at me, and neither cop answered my question. Well, their silence answered your question. I asked if I could call my attorney. They said after I'm booked. We drove away with me cuffed in the back seat. I glanced at Linda. My loving wife was smiling. She probably had this fucking evil smile like goddamn Emperor Palpatine in Return of the Jedi. The booking process took forever. Fingerprints, mugshots, paperwork. And when they finished, I was allowed to call Angie. Oh, thank you, officers. I explained what happened and told her where I was. She said, give her 30 minutes. I was put in a holding cell. Oh, that was, I'm sure, pleasant. Until Angie arrived. They released me into Angie's custody. I told her I thought I'd be in jail all weekend. She said she talked to the assistant district attorney who is on duty. The ADA okayed releasing me to Angie. How did she get the ADA to do that? They have a lot of discretion, and he knows Angie. Angie promised to keep me away from my home tonight, just in case Linda is still there. I'm staying overnight with Greg and her. What happens now? Unless Linda or the DA drop the charges, we'll have a trial. Oh, for God's sakes. Remember this, guys. She glanced at me and said that I should not be concerned. I'm a little fucking concerned. God damn it, I was just taken away from my house, cuffed, I didn't do anything, accused of this and this, in a holding cell with some guys that have been checking me out, not too comfortably. And I shouldn't worry. No, God damn it, I am a little concerned here. Linda has never filed a police report. We have years of her DMs to her friends where Linda describes every part of my body, including the size and shape of my you-know-what, along with intimate details of our lovemaking. She tells her friends everything about me, but never claimed that I ever did any harm to her in any way. Angie smiled and said, by the way, I don't know already. I'm a very disgusting human being. I need serious help. I told Angie that reading about my you-know-what and Linda and my lovemaking really turned her on, didn't it? Angie responded dryly that she doesn't think her marriage is in any danger. Angie continued that if Linda thinks the arrest gives her some sort of leverage, she's wrong. She may offer to drop the charges if we drop the divorce. We'll tell her if she doesn't drop the charges, we'll sue her for defamation. Lying about me to the police and having me arrested is no joke. We can sue her anyway. Okay, let's do it. But Linda doesn't have enough money to make it worth the effort. Well, you can do it pro bono, Angie. Angie's probably like, ha ha ha, pro bono, ha ha ha. But the divorce judge really won't like having me arrested. This is just the sort of BS that the judges hate. Lying and having me arrested will backfire against her. Well, that sounds all fine and dandy, but I'll believe when I see it. There are lots of judges out there that are fucking morons that, well, I don't have to get into that, into real world stuff. Can we sue the police for false arrest or something like that? No. It's SOP for the cops to arrest the husband if there's any possibility of physical harm. Again, what about the arresting the wife if there's any possibility of physical harm to the husband? They responded to a call a couple years ago and didn't arrest the husband. The guy offed his wife right after the police left, so now they always arrest. I stayed the night at Angie's and Greg's. Angie drove me home the next morning. She told me to leave the porch light on from now on. If I come home and see someone on the porch, drive away. If I look out the door and see Linda, don't open the door. And call Angie, not the cops. I wrote this last weekend, but asked Jim, Beth, Angie, and Greg to read it before I sent it to you. I didn't want to write about Jim's paternity test, their divorces, or my belief that Jim and Beth are hooking up without their approval. Everyone gave the thumbs up. Yeah, Beth and Jim are hooking up, or they may not have gone all the way, but there's definitely frolicking going on here. I just don't fucking believe it. Come on, guys, stay strong. You can do all what you want to do. I know it's all forbidden. It makes it more fun. When this is over with, you can, again, fuck like Catholic rabbits all you want. But Beth told me to make sure I include that she and Jim are not intimately involved. Beth. My beliefs about a romance between them are unfounded. Sure. Well, anyhow, that is part 9? That is the end of part 9. And I'm sure we're going to have part 10 and 11. Probably in a few weeks. So guys, there you go. So bro, stay strong. I appreciate you reporting all these details and everybody involved in this crazy story. Stay safe, be smart, stay strong. You'll get through this, and report back later on. But in all seriousness, yeah, stay strong. You're going through hell, but you'll be all right. You got a whole bunch of people supporting you here and are eagerly awaiting updates to your story. So I will certainly, when you have more updates, and of course there's always updates, I'll continue this on in part 10, 11, or 12, whatever it is. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.